I've been working on a series of small impressionistic seascape paintings lately, and I've been doing them with encaustic paint, which is a really fun way to paint, but it's not one that is super common, so I thought I'd share a bit about the process. So in a nutshell, encaustic painting is melted beeswax with a bit of damar resin, which makes it harder and increases its melting temperature, and pigments, which are added to the wax for color. So I have my palette of encaustic paints up at the top here, and they are on an electric frying pan, which is set to about 200 to keep the wax liquid. And at this point, I'm just adding encaustic medium, which is the beeswax and damar without any pigment, to give myself a base to work on. My substrate is a wood panel because it's important to have a rigid surface to paint on. Since canvas is flexible, if you were to paint on that, then you would likely end up with cracks in your paint, and that would be a very sad thing. Now I'm adding some pigment to one of my pots of encaustic paint. I'm adding white and a little bit of pink, and these blocks of color are basically wax with high pigment load in them. And I'm also adding encaustic medium. If I want my color to be opaque, then I add less. If I want transparent layers, then I add more. And I should mention that it's really important to use brushes that have natural bristles. If you use synthetic bristles, they are going to melt in the heat, and that's not a good thing. I have a mix of ones that are from the hardware store paint section, and also Japanese hake brushes, which come in a variety of sizes and shapes. Chicken, get out of here. You might have noticed by now that I've been using a propane torch, which honestly takes a little getting used to, but it's really not that scary once you get used to it. So essentially, I'm using this to melt the wax onto the painting and fuse it to the layer below. Some people also use butane torches or heat guns, but I don't think they give the same control that the torch does. Now this is not encaustic wax that I'm painting on, it's shellac, and once it's brushed on, I wait for about 20 minutes and then take the torch to it, which creates some really cool effects. The unfortunate thing about shellac is that it has a bit of a short shelf life, and since I opened this batch a few months ago, it's not as great as it once was, but I'm still hopeful that I'll get something interesting from it. Right, so that tearing that just happened there, that happened because the shellac is old, but I'm still getting a lot of effect that I wanted, which are those little bubbles or cells, and I just love how you never know exactly what's going to happen. So I'm just going to use this loop tool to get rid of the part that I don't like, and then I'll give it a little heat to smooth it out and carry on. Now that I'm happy with that layer of shellac, I want to protect it, so I go over it with a clear medium that has no pigment in it. And then I carry on adding my layers, and I don't want to completely cover up what I've created so far, so I'm using transparent layers of watery greens and blues, and I love how this creates a subtlety and depth in the piece. So this little series that I've been working on all have little islands off in the distance, so I'm just adding that in here. And I'm also wanting to suggest some rocks under the water, so I'm just adding little bits of dark here and there. And this is also adding to the value contrast. So far it's been a very light painting, and it feels like it needs a little bit of dark just so that it doesn't feel so washed out. Adding some pink because I love pink. And now I'm starting to think about adding some little details. And this is one of the hake brushes that I mentioned earlier. And I love that it comes to such a beautiful point so that I can add these little details of paint here and there. Adding some more transparent layers. And then I'm just using the loop tool to scrape off the excess wax that dripped over the edge of the painting. And I'm happy with that. I did end up painting more of an island later, but forgot to film that part, but you get the idea. I hope you enjoyed this little look at encaustic painting, and if it looks fun to you, I hope you give it a try. Bye for now.